Do you guys want the action now, or should I tease you with a cliffhanger? Washington, D.C. may be the epicenter of American history and politics, but I'm diving a bit more below the surface to discover underground secrets, quirky pit stops, adrenaline-filled adventures, and of course iconic experiences too, but in a different light. Wow. I spent 3 days uncovering all of this and more to show you guys a side of DC you've probably never seen before. Okay, so to give you context, I moved to the DC area about 6 months ago, and I have not explored a single thing in this city yet, mostly because I've been doing amazing itineraries in Charleston, Reno, San Antonio, all cities that I've actually overlooked before going there and being pleasantly surprised by what I found. So it got me thinking, am I overlooking my own home city? You'll have to wait and see what my takeaway is from this adventure, but that's because we've got places to go and things to do, people. It's day one after all, so let's get this party started. Okay, you guys, I just got to my first stop, and wow, is it stunning. This is the Washington National Cathedral. Shall we explore? Wow. Should I go to the crypt? Shh, don't tell anyone. The crypt is actually fully accessible to the public here at the Washington National Cathedral, which is super cool because not a lot of cathedrals are like that, and this crypt in particular has a lot to see. I don't want to give away too many features because ultimately I want you guys to see it all for yourselves. But of all the sites in the crypt, the Resurrection Chapel is by far my favorite because of the colorful tile mosaics scattered across the walls. Also, this space was designed in the Norman architectural style, which is a cool contrast to the Gothic style you'll see as you explore what lies above the surface. Oh, but while you're down here, say hi to Helen Keller. She's one of a few famous people buried in the crypt, which is pretty cool. Okay, now that we've seen what's underneath the cathedral, it's time to roam the actual cathedral, because it is the 6th largest in the world, and that means it's loaded with treasures. You can take a behind-the-scenes tour and travel up and down hidden staircases to see some of the structure's most magnificent features, starting with the space window, which has a rock from the moon embedded in it, before you check out sweeping views from the roof. When you're on the roof, keep an eye out for grotesques, which are decorative carvings that include some interesting figures as a tribute to the cathedral's quirky side. So there are 53 bells in this carillon, and I'm inside one of them. So if the word carillon doesn't ring a bell, it's basically a musical instrument with a minimum of 23 bells played from a keyboard. The Washington National Cathedral obviously makes the cut by that definition, and fun fact for you, it's actually the 3rd heaviest in the world. And while we're talking about fun facts, that's not the cathedral's only hefty claim to fame. The staff is currently building what will be the world's largest cathedral made of Legos. When it's done in a couple years, it'll be made up of 500,000 pieces that amount to a little bigger than the size of a minivan. And on Wednesdays, you can actually come and help add a few bricks to the massive masterpiece. A fun little finishing touch before we scoot on out to my next step. Wow, that was beautiful. And now it's time for my second stop. First, I gotta take off this because it is hot as heck. And I gotta find a scooter. So if there's anything I do know about DC, it is that scooter life is the best life. And would you look at that? So scootering in DC is the best for 3 reasons. 1, super efficient. 2, it really gives you a sense of place and really lets you appreciate the beauty that is DC, and there is a lot of beauty. 3, it makes you look hot. I mean, you can't beat this hairstyle, people. Come on. And I'm totally kidding about the third part. My hair is atrocious right now. All right, enough with the vanity and on to insanity. Why? Well, because the sweatshirt is already coming back on since it's spring and the weather clearly can't make up its mind. Plus, we're going down into the depths of the metro on our way to stop number 2. Oh, by the way, have you followed us yet? If not, you're missing out. It was at this point that I planned to talk about how taking the metro is a daily part of my life, and how I notice everyone seems to be deathly scared of making eye contact here, blah, blah, blah. But then I met Lewis. If you've ever heard the phrase, a stranger is just a friend you haven't met yet, I'm pretty sure there's a photo of Lewis sitting right next to that phrase. He told me how he's lived in the city for 30 years, wore his first pair of sneakers at the age of 40, and has now discovered a love for nature and adventure that's right out his back door, which I can confirm through filming this itinerary, as you will soon see, by the way. It's so funny to me that I met Lewis at that exact moment, because I was beginning to wonder if friendliness existed in this city at all. As is typical when I travel though, the perspective shifting experience came right when it needed to. Right place, right time. Uh-oh, almost to the surface. Here comes the heat. Okay, back to it. Okay, made it to Dupont Circle, which is where our next stop is. Well, kind of, because we're actually going underneath Dupont Circle over here to this little unassuming portal to the underworld. So, what are we doing underneath Dupont Circle, and what even is this place? Well, what you're looking at is Dupont Underground, an old subterranean streetcar station from the 1950s that has been transformed into an arts and culture hub showcasing everything from musical shows to drag performances to artist exhibitions, like Common Ground Common Futures, which was the exhibit on display while I was there. All right, I know I've only been here for like 2 seconds, but I'm calling this place otherworldly because look at how cool this is. Unfortunately, there aren't a lot of people here though, and that's for a couple reasons. One, it's underground. And because of that too, it's kind of a hidden gem. And while I love keeping hidden gems hidden, I think this place deserves to be known because it is already amazing, clearly, but it could be so much more. It turns out what you can see of Dupont Underground is just a small fraction of what it could be in the coming years. I got the chance to check out more of the tunnel system that hasn't yet been developed by Dupont Underground, and let me tell you, this place is going to be epic. If all goes according to plan, the entire tunnel network underneath Dupont Circle will house art and architecture installations, retail events, multimedia exhibitions, and more. But ultimately, it's up to the community to help decide what this underground destination truly becomes. And since I live here, I was more than happy to contribute in hopes that one day I'll be able to see it reach its full potential. Speaking of, it's time I head back to the surface because we have not yet fully experienced the potential of day 1. Now, ordinarily, we would be in the perfect place because there are some interesting sights around this part of town. But as I'm sure you guys know, sometimes adventures do not go according to plan. Sadly, this is my first time hitting a major road bump while filming amazing itineraries. Hi, O Museum. And bye, O Museum. I will daydream about you, and I will visit you one day. I'm going to make it happen. Yeah, so not gonna lie, the O Museum is hands down one of the coolest places I have ever found in America. And I was really excited to show you guys all of its weird, wacky, and wonderful wonders, as you can very clearly see from these pictures. But the timing just wasn't right. After spending many weeks trying to get in touch with the owners, they told me to come back in January, which immediately put me in a depression. But this place is deserving of a whole video by itself. So maybe it's a blessing in disguise? I guess we'll have to see. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I'm kind of bummed I can't show you the O Museum, at least this time. But it is not the only quirky player in town. So I'm gonna show you guys 3 little gems that are kind of hiding in plain sight. The first of these is not far from the O Museum, and it is equally quirky. 2 words, Barbie Pond. Come on, Barbie, let's go party. Am I right? I have to say, life in plastic looks pretty fantastic for these Barbie girls. And Ken, of course, who I think is moonlighting as a Playboy bunny, maybe? But to Brent, the owner of Barbie Pond, imagination, check. Life really is your creation. I could definitely say the same for the creators of our next 2 gems. So it's time to buckle up, Barbie, because we're headed there right now. Chevy Chase, here we come. All right, I have arrived at my second stop. A payphone. And if you think that is lame, well, joke's on you. You heard that right. This payphone is not only a blast from the past that is fully functional, by the way, but it also plays jokes depending on the number you press.
Why wouldn't the lion eat the clowns? They tasted funny.
This little time capsule is the work of Don Rutledge, a local substitute teacher who wanted to lighten up the neighborhood in which he lives. His efforts have paid off because according to this website documenting the payphone's usage, the contraption has been used over 15,000 times in the past year, mostly for knock-knock jokes. And as if the corniness factor couldn't go any higher, you can also call God, or Guy on Demand. But wait, hold the phone. I've got another call coming in. Apparently the birds have a lot to say about me wanting to talk to God. Yep, we're at another payphone, but this one is for the birds of Tacoma Park. Each number corresponds to bird calls from species local to Tacoma Park, which is where you'll find this payphone. So we're talking everything from herons to hawks. David Schulman deserves the credit for this final stop on day 1, since he created it as an interactive art piece back in 2016 with the help of the Cornell Lab of Ornithology. No nonsense chirping detected here. You know, I'm really feeling the call of the wild, so I think it's time to hang up on day 1, right? All right, you guys, it is day 2 here, and you know me, I love myself a little nature, so I am here at Great Falls Park, but we're not here to just do any old hike or anything like that. We are here to scale the side of a cliff. Will I pee my pants? Probably, but it'll be worth it because I have my trusty guide here. His name is Grant. Hey, Grant.
Good morning.
All right, you ready to be kitted up?
Yeah, let's get to it.
All right, let's do it. Ooh. Grant is a rappelling and rock climbing expert with Blue Ridge Mountain Guides, the only AMGA accredited adventure company that offers private programs in Great Falls Park, where you can basically learn how to climb and dangle off the cliffs without any issues, except maybe dealing with your own existential fears. Totally not panicking at all. Yeah, it turns out looking down the face of a 65-foot cliff is kind of scary. But I'm here to face my fears, so best to ease in by starting at the base. This began the rock climbing portion of the journey, which proved to be a huge confidence booster, until I got to the top and had to come back down. Okay. Once I got over the panic, it's actually pretty fun. Guys, this is actually really fun. Okay, at this point I was feeling really good about this and made it down without a problem. But now comes the real challenge, rappelling down a completely vertical cliff. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. Well, I talked myself off the ledge, and now I'm on the cliff. Yep, your boy leaped over that mental hurdle and sheer terror turned to sheer bliss. Well, maybe not bliss, but I didn't black out and could actually have a coherent thought, so let's call that a win. So I'd like to welcome you guys to the first edition of Hanging with Hunter because, you know, hanging on the side of a cliff Get it? So oftentimes when I go on these adventures, I often forget to like appreciate where I am just because there's so much going on. And I think a lot of us do the same. So enjoy the moment, enjoy the beauty, face your fears. It's worth it. This is epic. I wanted to pee my pants a few seconds ago, but now it's great. Enjoy the ride. All right, now that I've taken my own advice and enjoyed the ride a little bit longer, it's time to get off and get ready for the next ride. But first, a very important PSA. Update, I didn't die. And I made it up this. Thanks to Grant. Thank you, Grant. Oh, and also for those of you wondering, no, I did not pee my pants. I know that was a very secondary cliffhanger, but I did not, for the record. Anyway, back to our originally scheduled programming. Wow, that was so much fun, you guys. Granted, it definitely had its ups and its downs, which is very fitting because you could say the same about where I'm going next. Not a whole heck of a lot of ups and downs there, Hunter. Yeah, I know that's what you're thinking, but we're not there yet. Wait 1 second. A little break from the ups and downs, so I want to take the time to tell you guys where I am. So this is the Billy Goat Trail, also in Great Falls Park. It is the most iconic hike in the park, and the name comes from the fact that when you're on the trail, you feel like you're a freaking billy goat, but like in a cool way. To give you a sense of proximity, the Billy Goat Trail is just across the river from the rappelling and rock climbing area, and it is a must-see when you're in the region. Stunning views? Check. Sense of adventure? Check. A sense of adventure so invigorating that I'm getting too hot for the millionth time? Also, check. Okay, I'm dying here. It's so hot. So, I gotta take off this sweatshirt. 1 second. The camera is freaking out. Sorry if I give anyone a seizure. Oh, and while I have you here, take a hike. But like, not from this video, don't leave this video, please. But like, you know, go out. Let's enjoy this beautiful nature. And of course, as soon as I give my ringing endorsement for this trail, here comes the regret again. I have to climb all the way up Billy Goat Trail. I should have known. This part was far too steep for me to record any of my totally not panicked at all thoughts, but I was able to get footage of other brave souls climbing what's known as the Traverse, including this daredevil kid whose spirit animal has to be a billy goat. After climbing and surviving the Traverse, I finally made it to the shortcut that could take me back to the beginning. But that is not because I'm done here. There's still one more thing we've got to see. If there's one thing you guys will learn about me, well, actually, two things. One, I love weird crap. I love looking at weird stuff and finding weird stuff and showing it to you guys. Two, I love nature. When I'm not looking at the weird stuff, I'm out here. And so I've been to a lot of hikes all across America. This one I would give a 7 out of 10 because stunning, dramatic, easier than I thought it was going to be. But there's still one more thing we have to see that may bump it up to a 9 out of 10. Let's check it out. After following the path of the Chesapeake and Ohio Canal, which was refreshingly peaceful, I made it to the grand finale of day 2, Great Falls. The overlook on Olmsted Island offered an incredible glimpse of the power of the Potomac River, as over 82,000 gallons of water funnel through this series of cascades every second. After seeing the falls for myself and hearing the roar it creates, it all added up to one thing. 9 out of 10. Okay. Sweatshirt is coming back on because it got freezing out of nowhere. And if there's anything that I've learned while being here in DC, it's that you will get all 4 seasons in a day. A lot. Oh wait, you guys can't see me. Hold on. Back up. Back it up. Back it up. Okay. Well, that was really fun. 2 adrenaline rushes back to back. I will take any day of the week. But I think it's time we slow the pace down just a smidge, just a little bit, not a snooze fest, okay? We're going somewhere really cool and really pretty, and it'll make you feel like you're in a TV show. A TV show that actually is wildly popular. Where are we going? If you're familiar with the hit show Severance, you may feel like your Audi just took a field trip to a Lumen-esque art museum. But even if you're not a fan of Severance, Glenstone, as it's officially called, is for sure worth a visit. First off, it's the largest private contemporary art museum in the country with $4.6 billion in net assets. But secondly, and the reason I'm here, is because a lot of the art you'll find is beautifully integrated into nature. Full disclosure, I'm not big into modern museums like this, but it is nice to slow down sometimes and admire the hard work of creatives, which is something I can appreciate because that's my world too. Plus, you never know what kind of weirdness you'll find around the corner. Big Bird, my man, you're looking a little blue over there. You okay? While I go check on Big Bird, let me get you guys started on the next nature spot, because, yeah, no words are needed. Alright, you guys, it is definitely time for a walking tour because I think I found literal heaven on earth. Look at how freaking beautiful this is. What you see here is a luxurious landscape created by a luxurious woman. Her name? Marjorie Merriweather Post. Marjorie was the heir to the Post cereal empire, which was started by her father, Charles. Marjorie helped the empire bloom into an even bigger behemoth during her 44-year tenure at the top of the corporation. With a legacy like that, of course, she should be given her flowers. But it turns out Marjorie was one step ahead when she bought the Hillwood property in 1955. Her vision was for the outside of the estate to complement the opulence of the inside, so she went all out. As you roam around, you'll go from wandering through a French parterre with impeccable detailing to a tranquil Japanese-style garden with a waterfall, arched bridge, and sculptures. I highly recommend coming in the spring because the flowers burst with all kinds of colors. The final case in point? The Friendship Walk, which leads toward the putting green because, of course, Marjorie was a classy lady who loved golf. In fact, she was so classy that she created a cemetery for her dogs. And look at these names: Petit Chou, Creme de Coco, Lady Margaret. Talk about elegance. And speaking of elegance, go see the greenhouse before you leave. There are over 2,000 orchids and tropical plants in there, and it is gorgeous. If you think that's beautiful, just wait until you see what's on the horizon for day 3. Stop. 5 a.m. Usually have a 30-minute don't talk policy in the morning because I'm not a morning person, but I will make an exception for you guys. So, why am I up at 5 a.m.? Well, we all know that DC's cherry blossoms are iconic, arguably the most iconic in America. Literally millions of people come here every March and April to see the cherry blossoms. However, I don't do crowds, and I heard that if you get up at sunrise, or get there at sunrise, it is the best chance to see the cherry blossoms with the fewest amount of people, and the sunrise is amazing. So I'm really hoping that 1, the sunrise is spectacular, and 2, that there are hardly any people who are crazy enough to wake up at 5 in the morning to see the cherry blossoms. So now that my face is fresh, I have to make breakfast, brush my teeth, all of that, shower, of course, too. So I'm gonna put you guys away for a second, and I will be right back once I'm out the door. Okay, so I am on my way to the car now, and the anticipation is literally killing me. I'm so excited. Oh, blossoms, please deliver, please. So at this point, the sunrise was showing some promise, and it still was when I got to the cherry blossoms, but then the clouds sadly took over. The blossoms still showed out though.
Okay, so I can confirm it is a fairy tale here. It's gorgeous. Once you subtract out the 10,000 other people here.
It turns out going at sunrise on a weekday does not spare you from the crowds here at the Tidal Basin. Not ideal if you're easily overstimulated by large groups like me. The silver lining is that the Tidal Basin is pretty big, so you can find some quieter spots away from the main area to admire the blossoms, and they are just as beautiful.
So it took all of about 0.2 seconds for me to be completely over these crowds. So I want to show you guys some lesser known spots where you can admire the cherry blossoms without hordes of people. Let's go.
Before I got back to my car, I passed this gorgeous collection of saucer magnolias, which bloom around the same time as cherry blossoms and are just as enchanting, in my opinion. And when I think about all the other stunning landscapes we saw on day 2, how could you not love spring in DC? I can't say that was going through my head in this moment though.
Would you look at that? Pretty trees without crowds. Who would have thought?
Alright, my sass level is at a 10 out of 10, so let's check out these lesser known spots, shall we?
Okay, 1 for 1 on the lesser known spots because beautiful blossoms and no people. It is amazing. So this is Hains Point, and it is one of 4 steps I want to take you guys to that are a little off the beaten path, but still beautiful, obviously.
Hains Point is the quieter cousin to the Tidal Basin. 1, because smaller crowds, as I said. 2, it's only 2.5 miles from the basin. And 3, it's got some serious beauty of its own. If you do the full loop by driving, you'll see what I mean. The road is enveloped in cherry blossoms the whole way around, and it is stunning.
Still pretty. Just came here to say that. Okay, back to it.
While it has a much smaller number of cherry blossoms compared to the Tidal Basin and Hains Point, the U.S. National Arboretum has spring wonders with their own superpower.
You guys, I wish you could smell this right now with me because it is heavenly and it looks heavenly too.
The Holly and Magnolia Collections garden is the place to be here come spring because of the smells and the colors, which are equal winners in my eyes. Another quick trip type of place is the Foxhall Village neighborhood in Georgetown. It's quaint, it's quiet, and there are quite a few cherry blossoms here for a residential area.
I have to say, the Tudor architecture and cherry blossoms are kind of doing it for me.
This is not the only blossom hotspot in Georgetown. I've withheld on the 4th and final location until now because, not to brag, but I think I saved the best for last. I'm going to get to the gold in a second, but we're here for the blossoms first, and Dumbarton Oaks has that and more. You'll also find an absolutely humongous saucer magnolia tree that puts the one collection I saw to shame, plus a storybook path with daffodils known as Melisandre's Allée, a symmetrical pool of pink in the Prunus Walk, and of course, that unforgettable sea of gold known as the Forsythia Dell. I have never seen so much gold in my life. Yeah, pretty much every corner of Dumbarton Oaks unveils something magical, especially in the spring, which is why this place is the perfect finale for our nature extravaganza, but this amazing itinerary has not fully bloomed yet. Nope, we've still got an iconic conclusion ahead of us, and it's an activity I've been dying to do since I moved here.
So, you guys probably know at this point, I am not a huge fan of typical touristy experiences. But when I asked my friends what I absolutely have to do in DC, they pretty much all said the same thing, which is kind of touristy, but it was see the monuments at night. I understand why. I'm only at my first stop and I am blown away. This is so beautiful, but this is only the first stop. So we gotta keep going. And I have my trusty scooter here, my good old pal, to take us to the next spot.
It's hard to describe why seeing the monuments was so fun at night, but there was this energy around town I honestly hadn't felt before. There were quite a few people out on scooters and bikes, which added to the buzz, and everyone was just having a blast.
I can't get over it. Look at this. Wow.
In addition to the Washington Monument, I passed by the World War II Memorial, the White House, and the Lincoln Memorial, all of which had a sense of reverence to them in this kind of light. It was the ending I did not know I needed.
Okay, so I am ending my night where I began at, surprise, surprise, the Washington Monument. Not only because it is the most stunning monument I have ever seen at night, but also because I feel like it is one of the most iconic visuals DC is known for. And the fact that this has left such an impression on me, and it's iconic, kind of feels like the perfect symbolic moment here, because DC has been very surprising. Lots of unexpected twists and turns, from eccentric little gems to adrenaline-filled adventures. It has been very fun exploring my home city. And honestly, it makes me think of all the cities to come that feel overlooked if I were to really think about it. And that's super exciting. So just wait until you see what's coming next.